Oh, you know what? I don't have the thing that Alon plays. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the DGB Show. I usually Alon has a video to play. I think he has that pre-recorded. I'm going to see if I can bring it up. Anyways, Nate, why don't you introduce Jake and Jordan?
Perfect. Well, our guest on today, we've got some special guests here. They've been a part of our DGB portfolio now for, we're in October now, October 1st today, guys. So we're about 6-7 months in with them. Jake and Jordan are both the founder and co-founder of AIVRE, a appraiser, automation, and software and tech company based out of Michigan right now. So they're heavy into the real estate tech space right now on the residential side, as on the appraiser side specifically, but doing a lot of work in terms of focusing a lot of the tech going forward on some of the commercial side as well. So thank you guys for both being on. For our audience, they're coming off of a really strong August and September. So the last 2 months, they were actually one of the main sponsors, and Jake also spoke on the panel at the Valuation Expo, which is the national convention for real estate appraisers in the US. And so Jake and Jordan really represented well there. And coming off of that, they had a couple really good PR opportunities where you saw them have a couple articles published and being on a couple of the podcasts recently in the real estate tech and appraiser industry. So Jake and Jordan, appreciate you guys coming on. Great headway there in August and September. You guys have been building on that. I know you guys are on a runway here now, getting ready to launch, so kind of talk to us a little bit more about what you guys have going on.
Well, first of all, thanks for having us on the show. It's great to be here. Obviously, DGB has been a huge part of our beginning success and helping us launch. Big in our investment for us, but also giving us the right connections throughout, with everything through legal side and tech side and stuff like that. So first of all, just thank you guys. It's a big help.
Yeah, thank you. You guys have been a great help.
Just everything we would not be here without you guys. Let's just be there. So
process
100%.
Yeah. So we're at the end. Basically, we're at the end of our development. Right now, we're just preparing to go to market. We're in the final stages of our testing platform. And we're excited to go beginning, hopefully before end of October, we can start giving this tool to the appraisers and start helping appraisers complete their appraisals faster than ever. I've been doing internal testing. I'm at between anywhere in 10 to 15 minutes now for a full covered appraisal. And we all know, or at least I do, it takes anywhere from 40 to 70 minutes to complete a full report. So we're super excited to get this out there and help innovate a space that has not been innovated since the 1980s.
Well,
so we're excited for that.
Jake, why don't you tell us where this idea came about and how this came about, the whole thing?
Yeah. So it's a funny thing. So so David Blesnick, obviously one of the managing partners at DGB, my mom actually nannies for him. So funny story. My mom has known his wife Sonia for like 10 years, and I had no idea who Sonia and David were until probably 3 years ago. And I was actually sitting on his couch playing with his baby. And I was like, oh, it's a Sunday. Like, oh, I got to type appraisal reports on a Sunday. He's like, you can't have AI do it for you. And I was like, oh, I wish it could. But after that, I was driving home. I was like, wait, can AI do it? I was like, there's no way. So I started researching the idea on Google, just seeing what I can. Brought the idea back to David, and David's like, all right, give me a presentation of the whole essentially appraisal process. Gave him a PowerPoint slide, everything from cover to cover, A to Z. And then he said, I'm pretty sure it can, where actually introduced me to Jordan. And since then, that was probably last April that we decided that. And we've been kind of developing since last April. So that's kind of basically how it started. Realistically, 10 years ago with my mom meeting Sony at a hotel. And then progressing through 10 years of just keep going. And all of a sudden I met David, and that's kind of
every good business takes like 10 years to develop.
100%. And obviously it's crazy because it's funny because during COVID, my mom retired at Delta. So and Sony was looking for a nanny. She just had their baby, and she's like, I need a nanny that we know essentially. And my mom was retired, looking just hanging out.
Well, okay. It did partially start from you being an appraiser for how many years?
10 years. So yeah, 10 years essentially. Yeah, 10 years. And
that also helps.
Really yeah, 10 years. So I've been in the business for 10 years. So I know a little bit what I'm doing with appraisals.
Awesome.
You never know where a connection will take you.
And how long does the appraisal usually take?
Takes me like 40 to 70 minutes. Oh, like 40 to 70 minutes. And I type pretty fast too. And that's still like, it's still like a process of like still doing everything by hand, labeling photos, doing a text addendum, determining the condition and quality of construction of the house, pulling comps, determining the condition of each comp too, as a whole process in its own. And you know, our partners at Recipe help us with a lot of that too, with helping give us condition quality scores for the subject and the comps too. So it's a huge load off my shoulders behind the scenes too as well.
So talk us a little bit about the process of, so once you go ahead and you do the inspection on a property, right? You do all your reporting and you send it in. Like, is that it? Is it done? Or is there come like a review process now that if something does need to get changed, does it have to get sent back to you and then revitalized and then you have to resubmit it? So for people that maybe understand the real estate industry but don't understand the appraiser side of it in terms of the details, right? I think sometimes they just understand it just from the frustration, right? You want to buy a house, you want to sell a house, and you're like, why isn't this getting done quicker, right? And so when you have a problem like that where you have to submit it, how does that go ahead and happen? Does someone go ahead and then review it? And so does AIVRE now help eliminate some of those revisions and kind of help in that manner that maybe on the front end for the 10 years you've been having to experience this firsthand yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So the whole process is, the lender orders the appraisal, the lender goes to their AMC, and the AMC selects from their panel of appraisers who's kind of been working with them the past X years. They send us out there, we do the inspection, complete the report, upload it to the AMC, and the AMC does have their kind of quality control process, and any questions that they have or any errors, they send back to the appraiser to revise. In my 10 years, like doing it by hand, I can't count how many times I had a positive or negative adjustment, for a bathroom. If I accidentally did $4,000 or $6,000 for a bathroom in the wrong direction, just because I didn't hit the subtract sign, or I spelled a word wrong in the text addendum where it didn't make sense, or I didn't add a comment into it. So that's where AIVRE really does kind of come into play here, because it really just does. There's no errors like that anymore. It's the AI doing it essentially, and it's leaving it to the appraisers just to do their QC. One of our biggest responses from AMCs at Val Expo was that not enough appraisers are telling stories on how to explain the report. As the appraiser, it's our job to explain to the reader everything that we did within the report and why. They should be able to understand the appraisal just from our storytelling. That's where AIVRE is really a big help for us, because it does the whole addendum on its own. It reads essentially the appraisal and types out a text addendum that would usually take me 20, 30 minutes, and Jordan, it's probably 5 minutes to do it, less than 10 minutes to do that.
Right. And I think it should also be said that there are two really big things that when it comes to the appraisal industry as an appraiser that you want. There's accuracy and there's speed. When you're working with AMCs, they look at that as a core indicator of whether you're going to get more appraisals or not. So what AIVRE does is that we give you the ability to complete error-free reports, as we do have partnerships directly with MLS databases as well as public records all around the country, as well as giving you that speed to finish these reports faster than ever. So that means more money in the pockets of appraisers as well.
Now, Jordan, from the tech side, what has been kind of your, like, the biggest hurdle that you found success in kind of overcoming on the tech side during the development process of this? Because obviously everyone is super eager right now, especially on Web3 and AI, right? Everyone loves Web3. They love what blockchain is doing, right? But the big word right now is either Web3 or AI,
Right.
What has been one of the biggest hurdles that you've been able to overcome that you found, wow, like by getting over some of that stuff, it's really helped us in this manner now progress?
Definitely. Our biggest hurdle, and it still is one of our bigger hurdles, is definitely data. Currently within the real estate industry, it's hard to come by, property data that is accurate, complete, and, up to date. There are a ton of data providers out there that just, fail, or they all kind of just trade with each other the same amount of data. Okay. So what we've done is that we've created our own in-house, methods and algorithms to basically pull from tons of different sources to essentially come to one accurate truth on a property. And this is a process that we keep on refining. It keeps on getting better the more that we, talk with, MLSs and connect directly with them. So, that's definitely helped and allowed the accuracy of reports, go up even more. So that's definitely the biggest hurdle.
So
I love you. Oh, go ahead, Rankin. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I know that's where one of the things that Jordan and I have connected on somewhere, right? Is when you start looking at the MLSs and you start looking at data, especially for appraisal, you start realizing how fragmented all these MLSs are. Where California has its own MLS. There's two MLS, Northern California and Southern California, and then Michigan has a separate. And all this data is all over the place, right? And we both have blockchain experiences and enjoy that, and there's kind of that vision that someday all this data will eventually be on a blockchain to be able to reference, right? That's what we hope for one day. Well, yeah,
that's the goal. That's the goal. It seems like the perfect opportunity to put something on the blockchain is real estate data, and hopefully down the line, maybe AIVRE will help out with that.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's the beauty. I'm glad you touched on the data side because, end users that are just going ahead and seeing what the news headlines are showing about software and tech right now, they're only seeing the headlines, right? But actually what's going on behind closed doors is you have all this data now that is being able to have access and where you can really go ahead and aggregate that information in the right way now, right? And it's speeding up the process. So in one aspect, you have kind of fear, but another aspect is like, actually, no, like this actually helps us be more progressive. We've already had these ideas. We've had the agendas here to get some of these new developments done, right? But you haven't been able to aggregate the data in a quick enough manner to get it done, right? So I think that's one of my favorite parts about where kind of the industry is going, especially on the real estate side, is with these developments of new softwares and new tech now, it's allowing for the creative to now come back into play, right? Like, Jake, it's not like for the first 9 years, you're like, you know what? I love spending 45 minutes to an hour and a half on writing a report, and this isn't a problem. It's just there wasn't a solution that was a viable enough thing at that time for your first 9 years, you know? And so, like, I think that's one of the beauties, and I'm great job, Jordan, bringing that up, because I think that's one thing we definitely want to make sure people understand is that sometimes the evolution actually helps us progress these ideas that have already been here, right? These problems have already been here. I'm sure, Jake, you can probably say in year one, you realize, dang, an hour and a half or an hour to spend on one report, man, if I can knock this down in just 1 hour, I can go ahead and get more reports done, right? And so, like those problems you recognize in year one, but sometimes these ideas take time because we need data or software, the evolution of things to just kind of take place in other ways. So, that makes total sense, Jordan.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't until, early, 2021, 2022, when, AI really started taking off. AI has always existed, but it hasn't really been put into the consumer's hands until the development of ChatGPT, I'd say. And since then, it's hard to even do, work in general, like schoolwork, like just busy work for business, or just even an appraisal. It's hard to go without it nowadays. And so it's been cool to see AI be used as a tool, and overall just helping the industry get more optimized and better.
And also, I want to put too. Sorry, and Jordan made a good point. AI as a tool, right? We're not here to replace any appraiser. It's just because that was some of the feedback we got to at Alex. But you're going to replace all of us? No, not at all. We're here as a tool for appraisers to obviously complete their job quicker, faster, and much more efficient, and also maybe extend their careers. The average age of an appraiser is 58 to 62, I believe, per Fannie Mae. And that's towards and I would think towards the end of their careers. They're retiring soon. Want to spend time with the family or grandkids or family and kids or whatnot. There's no more late night typing reports. If any appraisers are listening, they do know how strict the AMCs are with their deadlines, wanting it by a certain time. So it's just going to only extend their careers, the appraiser's career, and the ones that are at the tail end of their careers. So,
well, Jake, I thought if somebody brought up a great point, and then maybe this is made at your conference though. It's like the idea of training new appraisers, right? Right now, I think there's a lack of appraisers in the industry. Obviously, sometimes that when there's a high volume of housing or whatever. And the thing is do you want to trust that new appraiser to do a good job on that appraisal? Mm-hmm. And now, even if you have an appraiser who's doing the report, you have a tool that can second check and catch errors. Like you were mentioning at one time, I remember you mentioning this, you're like, the first time I think you used AIVRE, you're like, the appraisal was off in mine, and I noticed it's because I forgot a basement or something. You forgot something on
patio. The patio.
The patio, right? Yep. And the AIVRE ended up picking up the patio and adding that to the cost.
100%. Yeah, just human errors like that, right? I mean, I had a deck on the one side and a small patio on the right side. From the photo that I took, it didn't happen to be in the photo, right? I just completely forgot about it. Didn't mark on my checklist. But things like that, where our image recognition picked it up, it can assist the current appraiser.
And being able to bring on new appraisers and to know that for a small cost you can double check the quality of your appraisers or even the spot check, like that's helpful to know.
Sure. Oh yeah, I mean, and they're doing a ton of things right now. Try to bring on true trainers. There's the parade program that can you can have a mentor in different states and they can help you get your license. I believe they are coming out with scholarship programs to help pay for the education, because it's not cheap to have the education, the licensing. Right. So that they're having that, and our partners also coming out with McKissick, where they're going to start partnering us with their general education and continuing education too as well, to essentially just kind of bring out this new tech towards the new generation. Even though I've been in the field for 10 years, I still consider myself as one of the new generation appraisers. Jordan and I have had countless meetings with these appraisal companies, and they said they've never met an appraiser under 40. And it's crazy, but it's true though. It's crazy. It's definitely older. It's so niche. Not many people know about the appraisal business unless you're buying a home. But it's so needed within the home buying process or the home refinancing process.
Absolutely.
It's so needed. Everyone just thinks when you say real estate, you're thinking buy and sell as agents and brokers. They're not thinking appraisals or home inspections or stuff like that. And that's where we want to be able to kind of conquer that niche field and innovate the space that hasn't been touched since like the 80s. Wild.
You brought up the refinance too. Like, an appraiser is using a refinance. And even if you're not selling your home, you're refinancing every couple of years potentially, or equity.
And with these rates dropping too, and I know they're trying to do a lot of appraisal waivers when certain homeowners have a certain LTV, but also AIVRE can help with these appraisal waivers to help the lenders confirm their value. I mean, there's still needed a value is still needed at the end of the day. Yeah, the bank still needs to know what they're lending on, and with the waivers, AIVRE can help as well too with that.
I see that as being such a huge advantage though for companies though, because like even if I want to bring on new appraisers, right? I would assume as an office manager, I might be able to only handle training maybe 3 appraisers at a time if I have to go through all their reports, and verify for myself, because you're essentially doing the report. And now that I have a tool that can help spot check the guys I'm coming in, that means I can potentially go and hire and train twice as many,
Well, that too, and also from a response from Felix, but too, a lot of these mom and pop shops do have data entry people at the office waiting for them, where AIVRE comes into place. Also, it helps the current companies, the mom and pop shops or the bigger appraisal firms with their overhead, right? Yeah. We're essentially kind of cutting out that data entry person and just kind of having the QC process only be with the appraiser from inspection and then completion date for the report. Average turn time, I believe, was we heard a week. At one point for a turn time, we've heard 4 days for a turn time. Ours could be 12 hours.
Now they still have to read it and sign it off, right?
100%, yes. But at least exactly. But the bulk of the report's done, right? They sit on his couch and just review it. And the best thing is too, we're web based. So a lot of the current platforms now are only PC. So, and they had to be at a desktop or a laptop, but for us, it's web-based. So you can be anywhere in your home. You can be on the beach. You can be literally anywhere. As long as you have Wi-Fi, you have access to your appraisals and you're not stuck at the computer, right? COVID changed the world. Everyone wants to be remote. Everyone wants to work somewhere else and or at least have more time, right? So at least for us being web-based, Mac and PC, we feel like we're ahead of the curve there, and essentially like going out to the younger generation because everyone just has different computers. So
you're getting ready to launch soon too, right? Like
so we're shooting for end of the month. Hopefully, we had some internal testing. As I've learned, software development is like a bunch of mini projects doing on the side and then kind of combining into one. I don't know software. Jordan's the master coder here. I'm just the real estate guy. So essentially, it's a bunch of little projects added into one and integrating. And so I'm like doing final testing on my own as from cover to cover, essentially, and just going back and forth and just refining. Even though we've been testing throughout these last 6 months, bits and pieces of it, this is kind of the really first time I've had it from cover to cover from, our in-house sketch platform that's ANSI standard up compliant. We have all these data. We have all the best data sources now that we're partners with, and we're kind of bringing everything together into one. And now we're just doing internal testing on my own.
Well, what about in the field with like pictures and drawing and?
So that's our next step. So having the mobile platform. Jordan, you want to go into the mobile platform?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the biggest feedbacks that I've got at Val Expo was in the field technology. There exists technology utilizing AI to basically take your phone, you scan the internals of a house, each room, and it'll take the measurements automatically. So things like that, even just sketching on your iPad while you're at the home too as well. So things like that, we do have plans for creating technology. As of right now, we saw the biggest help that we could provide to the industry was through this desktop platform to help get their reporting down to 10 to 15 minutes. But definitely down the line, we definitely are looking to use this LiDAR technology and AI to automate the field inspection. And I think that'll be within this next year that we'll probably do something with that.
Okay. But right now you are able to import your photos for the houses that you take.
Correct. Yeah. You're able to import them. We actually run AI image recognition on them as well. And we can label them for you. You can tell whether the room's a bathroom, an empty room, whatever, a kitchen. And also even more, we're able to detect like condition of the property, appliances, materials used. And that's all used within the reporting.
Now, Jake, you had touched on, and Jordan, you had brought it up originally, the speed, right? And how it ends up giving you back time. Jake and Jordan, what's the feedback been from the AMCs as you've been able to deliver, Jake, on your side, more appraisers in a quicker manner and more efficient manner? Have you seen positive feedback by going ahead and having these appraisers done or appraisals done actually in a quicker manner now from the AMCs?
So they love it, right? I mean, there's a couple things that they wanted that we got feedback from was communication from the appraisers, because a lot of the appraisers don't communicate, and also speed, turn times. Obviously, the appraisal stuff is closing a loan is really a lot of it's based on the appraisal, whether it's coming into value, making sure the bank, the lender knows what it's worth for lending. But also they go back and forth. There's a lot of back and forth. But the fact that they want it, AMCs have their due dates to the lenders as well. So how it works is kind of a scoring system where the lenders score the AMC scores the appraiser. The faster the appraiser gets a report back to the AMC, the higher their score there is, and the more workflow they get. So yeah, we've had some great feedback because for how fast our turn times are. We have an in-house appraisal company that is also testing AIVRE on the daily, and we are an active appraisal company. So and our whole business model is with speed, just beating the other appraisers. While the other appraisers are spending time with the family or watching movies, I'm working and not sleeping. So
right.
That's why we're ahead of the game, and then we provide those quick turn times. And AIVRE is going to even just help further progress that along, essentially.
But I think time, that's a great perspective, especially on the AMC side, to understand how time actually benefits the entire circle of everyone involved, right? It benefits you and it benefits them, and it benefits the lender, right? But I think also the other thing too on the time side is it now gives you time to either get more business, right? To expand your business, right? Or to go ahead and develop new, like on your guys' end, you guys are developing new business as well, right? And so I think the cool thing is sometimes we don't know what time gives us, right? So Jordan, when you brought up speed earlier, Jake, when you're going ahead and putting it into a context as an appraiser, right? Now it's more digestible, where you can understand, like, okay, so by this speed, right, I'm able to have more time for my stuff now, whether that's more business opportunities because the AMCs, great, or if it's more family stuff, great, or if it's now the time that it gives me because of the development that I can do now for our own ideas that we want to do, right? And so I think it's one thing, because Jordan, early on when you said time, I was thinking, what's the tangible stuff of it? Like, how do we apply it, right? But now, as the appraiser or as someone in the business, now you know how you can go ahead and apply it in different avenues. And I think that's really cool on how you can take a tech avenue or tech software, right, that you're going ahead and developing yourself and applying that to how it's going to actually affect you, not just in the business, but on the actual business as a whole, and then personally. So it's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a tool at the end of the day, right?
Right.
It's make our jobs easier, more efficient, and just better all around. Everyone wants more time with their family, right? Everyone wants more time to do something else other than behind a computer, right? So it's just overall so much better, and it's just so much more efficient, right? So.
And what did you see, especially now that you've been in the development process of AIVRE, what have you seen being at the Val Expo as other appraisers' biggest problem right now that they're having in the industry? Were you seeing some continuity, where people were agreeing as they were going ahead and coming up and speaking with both of you about like common problems that other appraisers are having, not just in the Michigan area, but let's say in the South, right? Or in the Northeast, or in a little bit more, maybe like the Texas area, right? I know we had a lot of people from Texas there. Were you seeing anything there, especially as you guys been on the development side of AIVRE now?
Yeah. So there's 3 big feedbacks that we got from the lot of pages. One was revisions. A lot of people coming back with AMC coming for revisions and asking to explain further in. 2 was if you're in the appraisal business, the fees have been the same, right? It's still it's still a certain amount that we still get from the lender. Big mistake. Everyone thinks that we get the full fee. We don't. Borrower pays a fee, but we get a percentage of that, and the lender gets to keep that as well.
Right.
And then also being able to see the fees and then the speed, and also just like turn times and explanation. So our kind of way is for the obviously revisions, we eliminate those revisions, right? It's just being, you're doing more QC on your report. And from what we heard, a lot of the appraisers they don't take certain assignments because the AMC started paying a certain fee. They're like, that's not worth my time, or it's not worth my typing the report. But for AIVRE, you can do that now. You can take anything, no matter regarding what the fee is, you can still take more. Because regardless of then, you're just inspecting and then reviewing it. That's probably an hour of your time, essentially, depending on how big the house is. So you can kind of take every assignment now with AIVRE. Some people, they would get bids. Oh, they're only offering X dollar. Well, that's not worth my time. But with AIVRE, you're not really typing the work anymore. The computer's doing it for you. So now you can take that low budget assignment, essentially, which I think is obviously great for all of us. It's just more money in our pockets, right?
Right.
So that's kind of what we heard from there. So
yeah, and I'll also add one more to that from what I've heard at Val Expo was that the current software that's out right now, the current leaders right now are ACI, Total Alamode. I mean, I've heard from plenty of appraisers that their software is completely out of date. They cause too many crashes, which leads to them losing progress within the reports or taking more time to fill them out. I mean, this software is so outdated that, I mean, it's about time that something like AIVRE has come in to kind of revitalize this industry. And yeah, that's what we're looking to do here is provide the top tier technology.
Well, so that's a good point. Let's elaborate a little bit on the software side. And what I mean by that is in terms of like the forms, right? So if I'm based in California, you guys are in Michigan. So now with AIVRE software, are appraisers in California able to go ahead and utilize it? Like, is it able to go ahead across state lines in terms of the development right now once you guys do launch it? Like when you guys launch it, is my company going to be able to go ahead and utilize your guys' AIVRE software?
Yeah, definitely. We're
Awesome.
definitely, yep. So as long as you provide us a MLS ID to
Yep.
confirm that you are a active MLS member out in your state, yep. Then we can have full access to the MLSs that they're out there. Yep, MLS ID, and you're good to go. Super.
Okay.
Simple. Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's one of the things I really like is that the development isn't just going to go ahead like, yeah, real estate, but in real estate, if I'm an agent in California, if I go to Arizona, one state over, right, or Nevada or New Mexico, I got to then get a license for that state to go ahead and practice it there. So what I like is that it's nice to go ahead and hear that companies are going to be able to be utilized, whether you're appraiser licensed in California or Michigan or Texas or Florida, wherever it is, because I think that helps, right? It helps to go ahead and know, oh, I don't have to go through a licensing process, right? Or maybe it's not a licensing, but it's a 1 month process that delays me the onboarding of it, right? Because it takes me time and I have to learn it. So I think that's nice to go ahead and just know that once you guys are live and once it's out there, that it doesn't matter which state you're in, you can go ahead and integrate the software and start utilizing and applying it right then and there.
Yep.
100%. And what you
really
see per state with appraisals is that a ton of states do their, I guess, reporting differently. Some states like Florida or maybe California or Georgia, they have different ways of calculating, let's say, gross living area of a house or the basement area. Some stuff like that. It's very niche per state. So what we do is kind of expedite that process. We handle all those little niche changes within each one because I know each state is different. So we definitely expedite that process.
Now, and then so on the state by state process, like the development of this, you guys have been hard at this for about 6-7 months now. In terms of like getting it started, was there anything else out there really? Did you guys find that other people were thinking of it in the same way? Jake, I know you've been in it for 10 years. Being in it for 10 years, did you have any other companies out there that really allowed you kind of the speed, the accuracy, and also the efficiency, right? I know accuracy is one thing, but also the efficiency for the AMC as well too, with the photos and like if you missed a patio, like what you were saying. Did you see anything out there during the meantime before you thought about this? Because it doesn't seem like that there was anything else really out there that helped you.
There were certain tools, right? They had like a company like Data Master, one of the company, I can't remember the name right now, but they're plugins. So you still would have to have the old software. So you have to have ACI, Alvin, but other things like that. But it would be a plug-in to that. There's no software out there, from my understanding, and from our as well patent attorneys too as well, that's full encompassing from cover to cover. Start from the beginning of the report all the way to the end, right? Text addendum, adjustments, everything. There are companies that do bits and pieces of each report, not the total report. And it's still leaving a lot on the appraiser, which also we let the appraiser too. Our tech is fully customizable too as well if the appraiser wants to make changes. So that I also want to throw out too, once the report's done, you can still change things within the report, just like any other software. It just gets the tedious stuff out of the way for them. But there are other companies out there, but they are not the full report. So
do you see a big change going forward here in the next about 3 to 5 years on the real estate industry, just on terms of tech and software and kind of a new influx of maybe modern perspectives and viability, just in terms of changeover and how you can expedite things, or you can aggregate, Jordan, as you were saying, some of the data in a little bit better manners? Do you kind of see that kind of going forward now being in the industry for 10 plus years?
100%, right? The last year was the AI boom, right? But I think now, like, people are starting to understand that technology is here to help us make our lives easier. If that wasn't, we would never switch to the iPhone. That we're still using flip phones. People didn't believe in technology. There's still an adoption. There's still an adoption period, right, where people have their skepticism. But I think now we're kind of moving in that direction where, like, okay, this is a tool. If I don't use this tool, I'm gonna get replaced by the people who will. And we believe that too. Like anyone who doesn't hop on the tech bandwagon here, they're going to get left behind. And the banks and lenders and whoever the clients will go to the people that use technology at its fullest potential, and it makes them much more efficient to the person who's not using technology. So yes, definitely.
Right.
And the great thing about it too, Nate, is that we're just at the beginning of the AI boom. Right. You know, we just recently got into the hands of appraisers, you know, AI technology. And I think the real estate as a whole, the whole industry will be affected. I mean, who knows, within the next 10 years, we might not even have to visit houses anymore for open houses to check out the house. I'm just excited to see where the industry takes this, but I'm glad that we're at the forefront of pushing this into the public.
Absolutely. So you guys remember before COVID, about 2018, 2019, when you had kind of, I'll call it like the videography boom in real estate, right? Everyone wanted to use drones or videos in the interior of the homes as they wanted to do. Like their open showings, they wanted to go ahead and have the videos utilizing the drones, and then you saw the next 2 to 3 years, it was a lot of development that then came stemming off of that introduction, like the incubated stage during that time span. And then next 2 or 3 years, even I think it was 2018. So then going into 2020, where it was now everyone's doing it, right? So I think the cool thing is here, like Jake, what you were saying, the average age of these appraisers are much older than what people would go ahead and perceive, right? And so in terms of this wave of technology, this wave of development, and this wave of change, like you guys are at the forefront kind of how this change is going to go ahead and occur, right? We saw it 5-6 years ago just on the videography side, and now you guys are going ahead and incorporating not just the photos and the videos and understanding where that has now taken us here in terms of the AI and the Web3 interfaces, but now it's getting into the niches, right? Which is a cool thing, right? It stemmed from just a broad avenue, and then it started to dive into the niches. And I think that's really cool how you guys are able to go ahead and take some of the stuff that maybe started 6-7 years ago, right? And then now here we are, and now it's going to go ahead and affect stuff on the appraiser side as well, right? Just from a tech side, even, like the drones going to now being able to, Jordan, on your side, on the technology side, being able to implement how tech has evolved over the last 6 years, where now you can go ahead and build a process like this to automate these forms and automate the actual reports, and then the efficiency and speed. I think that's cool how the niche goes ahead and gets more and more defined as years go on, but also it gets more performance based as the user, because now all of a sudden you're putting, the power back into the hands of each person, which is nice. Yeah. I love that.
We're not reinventing the wheel. We're just helping them create
right.
The wheel. What's really cool coming up in later next year is they actually Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, they're actually coming out with a new UAD called 3.6. So there are going to be new appraisal forms that we're actually working with right now going into next year. It's kind of cool because ACI Wintel might have the grip on the appraiser software now, but coming when the new form comes out, it's going to be essentially all start from the start line again. We're all the same. So at that point, people are going to be able to choose who they want, because it's all going to be a brand new form. And from our time at Val Expo learning about this new UAD 3.6, Jordan was saying it's all one form, it's all standardized, which makes it so much easier on our dev side to be able to create. So we're super excited for that too as well, while we'll come out with the current form. So we're really looking into late 2025, 2026. There's some big things coming ahead for us.
So for people that are in real estate, maybe they have a home or they're investing in it, or maybe they work in it in some sort of way or fashion, can you elaborate on why there would be a reason for new forms, on the appraiser side, in terms of just the reporting, and then what that benefit is?
Yeah, definitely. So right now, if anyone sees an appraisal form, I'm sure you guys see it when when we demoed it for y'all. It's a language, right? It's called the UAD language. And Jordan, over the past 16, 17 months, he's become fluent in the UAD language just from working with next to me. But it's definitely a tough thing to read. It's hard to read for the borrowers. It's hard to read for underwriters and reviewers. So it's because we're trained in that. I can read the report, no problem. Normal eye,
Right.
it's hard. So with this new form, I think they're trying to improve like the understanding it, right? The borrowers now are going to understand what their appraisal is, what their house is worth after they receive this new form. And I think it's more standardized. It's one form, whether it's a single family home, a condo, or a 2-family or manufactured home. It's going to be all one form. It's just going to take you to different spots on where to do it. So we're really cool with that. We're working with pretty much hand in hand with Freddie Mac as well on developing that new form. So we're super excited that, and it's just going to be more understanding, more universal understanding from everyone getting the appraisal, essentially. So
Okay. So really, I mean, if I'm buying a home or selling a home, I think the cool thing is, especially on the lending side, that now with this new form and with your guys, accuracy and the speed of it, one, my time gets cut down, but the other thing too is then the efficiency and the accuracy of what the home is actually going to be valued at goes up as well too, just in terms of the accuracy and efficiency of it, right? So it doesn't allow for as many loopholes, right, or for as many wrongdoings in some cases. So I think that's cool that you guys then end up almost having a symbiotic relationship and partnership with these lenders and AMCs, which is kind of ends up becoming like an ever evolving circle, right? Where by working together, like you guys are in the sense enhancing each department, each category themselves, So as a lender, now they're able to digest it with the new form coming out, but at the same time, they're still getting this accuracy and the speed as well, right? So, potentially could also be really beneficial as the recipient of actually, right, who's getting the loan because of that. So I think it's cool that then it ends up benefiting the end user, right? So from the beginning to the end,
and also combating bias, right? Appraisal bias is a big thing. There's statistics out there for Fannie Mae, and I think a minority-owned home in a white neighborhood is, like, I believe, appraised 10% less than the white-owned homes. For us, we just use data. Right, regardless if it's the algorithm or the appraiser doing it, we're providing the best data possible. That's hopefully we can try to eliminate that bias. Bias is a big thing out there right now, and hopefully eventually one day we'll be able to defeat that and give everyone a fair market value.
That just goes back to Jordan's point early on about how having some of this data, right, and having this new kind of evolution of where now AI and Web3 and tech is taking us. Now you're able to go ahead and eliminate some of these biases in a way where, by doing everything, Jake, for the last 10 years on your end, all, kind of in a brick and mortar style, old school style, right? Now here you go with this kind of new software and tech, like what Jordan's talking about, where, now it's allowing the data to go ahead and play a part in a positive way. So, I mean, I think one of the biggest takeaways for our Hope users today is just that the tool itself is a tool, right? AIVRE itself and what you guys are providing is a tool, whether it's on the individual, right, and like the AMC, right, that you're going ahead and doing it for, or it's the end user that's going to go ahead and get the loan, right? So it's nice to go ahead and see how the tech side of what Jordan's talking about at the very beginning, then you kind of go ahead and see how the evolution of it from who it's benefiting, and then also on the bias side in terms of individual manners. Like now the data plays a key role. The data plays a key role where now you're able to have confidence also in the industry as well, right? As the user, because you read stuff, right? Like the Fed just dropped the rates, right? But at the same time, like, even if the rates were still high and you were on the fence about it, you're like, oh, I'd really like to get involved here. Maybe I want to buy something. Maybe I want to sell something. I don't really know. But just knowing that these softwares and these companies are out there provides more like trust behind it, right? Knowing that when you are going to go ahead and do this, it's eliminating some of the biases, right? There's more accuracy behind the loan itself. Yep. So it maybe entices people a little bit more, to go ahead and be involved in the marketplace.
Definitely. And I think AIVRE has multiple applications for a lot of parts of real estate, right? It's not, even though we're an appraiser tool, we can also be a lender tool as well. Okay. I know for a fact that not all appraisers in the United States are going to go with AIVRE, right? That's just being real. So if you're a lender and you have your underwriting process and review process, if an appraisal completed by John Smith is on one screen and the underwriter is not feeling too comfortable with it, they can run an appraisal on IVRE and kind of have two appraisals on two screens, kind of reviewing the appraisal work done by John Smith and IVRE. Helps a lot with the ROV tools too, right? A lot of values do come in short, or people disagree with the values, and the lenders give the opportunity to the borrowers and real estate agents and loan officers to be able to create an ROV to send back to the appraiser to reconsider their value. With IVRE, it pulls comps like an appraiser. So if you want to send an ROV, it just does it right for you, right? So you can see what the appraiser picked within the market area and see which comps are most similar to the subject that he didn't pick. And he can send those comps back to the appraiser for an ROV. So there's definitely multiple applications that IVRE can be used for, and we're very diverse. And
we talked about BPOs as well too, like banks, right?
BPOs, right? So there are some things in the works for us, and that we're going to appeal to those two as well. Obviously, appraisals are our language, right? Jordan and I are working something towards the future where we can have a form where people has the most important things on a value that people can read very simply. So that's how we do.
You still have to have an official appraisal, an appraiser doing it. But I could also see it being used as a tool to, like you're saying, to double check an appraisal to say, hey, is these appraisals fairly close and accurate? And if you're doing enough volume, it might be worth it to pay for the additional service.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just another review tool, another confirming tool to use.
Where do people go to find out more? What website? Where do they go? Where can they sign up? And how soon are you launching the product?
You can go to our website, www.AIVRE.com. And for people who don't know what IVRE stands for, it's Artificial Intelligence Valuation Real Estate. You can give us sign up for an email. We'll send you an email when we release. And we're planning for this month, October, to be released. And hopefully all goes well, and we can kind of release this to the masses, and everyone can be able to take advantage of the benefits of IVRE and help them complete faster appraisal reports faster than ever. So we're super excited.
Waiting to drop that little banner at the bottom.
Appreciate that. I saw that. Sweet.
No, I love it. I love it. Last thing, as we kind of wrap up, Jake and Jordan, do you guys see a benefit of IVRE ever expanding into the commercial space at all? Can you guys kind of give a little bit of feedback there and kind of what you see, just in terms of do you see that being a benefit at all? Do you think there's opportunity there?
Yes, 100%. So we got a lot of feedback and a lot of requests at Balance for commercial. In our plans for next year. So we are currently in kind of the research part of that and exploring, and we'll definitely have a commercial platform application in the year to come. So we have a big partner here, hopefully in Michigan, that we can work with in the commercial side. Can't say their name, but they do want to eventually collab with us, and when we have something for them, and definitely on the horizon for sure. So
awesome.
A lot of
Rankin
big things in store for next year. It's a lot of big things.
Yeah.
No, a lot of development this year, which is great. Next year is when we can have the fun stuff come out. So we're super pumped next year. So
awesome.
No, can't wait. Well, guys, definitely go ahead, reach out to them. Go ahead, go to their website, check out their demo right there on the website. Check out, go ahead and subscribe to them. They'll definitely be having updates here soon on when their launch is. It's coming up here. So stay in tune with that for sure. And then also, with some of the events, like they were just out here on the West Coast for an event. So stay up to date with them to see if they're going to be in your area for some of the events as well too, or for maybe just collaboration purposes as well. I know Jake and Jordan, they definitely travel a little bit. So, man, guys, thank you for coming on. Rankin, anything else on your end?
No, I think that's great. Thank you for watching the DGB show. Of course, check out their website. If you're an appraiser, sign up. If you're an aspiring company looking for a VC to partner with, take a look at dgb.vc. As you can see with IVRE, this is one of our portfolio companies. We love IVRE, and we like to create synergy across all of our portfolio companies. And some of the others are lit, and some other ones we're working on. I'm assuming you guys have seen some experience of the synergy between those companies as well. And so if you're looking forward to working with a VC who wants to be a part of your growth, come check us out.
Awesome.
I assume Jake and Jordan, it's been good working with us, right?
It's been amazing.
Amazing. Like I said in the beginning, we would not be here without you guys. Like I said, just everything. Obviously this is new for me and new for Jordan too as well. And you guys been walking with us this whole way, and hopefully next year we'll be able to sprint together. Like I said, just you guys have been a massive help to us. So we would not be here without you guys and the spot we're in. So we're super grateful, and thank you for having us on the show as well too. So
I'm sorry, Alon's not here today.
No, it's okay. We miss you a lot. Alon's great. Alon's in the meetings like once a month with us. He's amazing. Alon's also great help too. So like I said, he's always helping hand with us. He's a great dude. Gives us a lot of insight and tips on how to pivot. Obviously in startups too, like being able to speed is key. So having DGB giving us tips on how to pivot is big for us.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Jake and Jordan. Appreciate you guys both coming on, and to all of our DGB fam, thank you again. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Thank you. See you guys.
Have a good one.
Hey, Jordan, we don't live anymore. Oh, are we live?